From unusual ice lagoons to crystal ice caves and crazy-looking ice circles, today I'm counting down 15 of the most unusual ice formations ever found. Let's start with number 15, frozen moose. In Alaska, a truly bizarre and rare sight emerged. Two bull moose locked in combat, their antlers intertwined in a deadly struggle, frozen beneath the ice. It's a scene straight out of a tale of survival and the brutal reality of nature, one that would be hard to believe if it wasn't for the undeniable evidence. These moose were likely engaged in a fierce battle over a mate. Moose, especially during rutting season, can become incredibly aggressive, driving the primal urge to assert dominance and win the right to breed. Their antlers, which can span up to 6 feet, are not just for show, but they are formidable weapons in these duels. However, in this rare instance, this fight turned tragic. Their antlers became so tightly locked together that neither could break free. In their struggle, winter, where the temperatures can plummet rapidly, as the water began to freeze, it would have created a layer of ice around the moose, sealing them in place. Over time, more layers would have formed, gradually building up until the moose were completely entombed. The clear ice preserved by the constant cold here would have kept the bodies in an almost pristine state, a snapshot of the moment of their demise. Number 14, the New Hampshire Ice Caves. In the frigid heart of New Hampshire's White Mountains, a wonder rises from the snowy landscape each winter, the ice castles. These ethereal structures, with their caves, tunnels, fountains, slides, and towering icicles, are an amazing display of nature and human artistry. But how does such a thing come into existence, and what's the strange allure that draws thousands to witness this chilly splendor? The Ice Castles project began as a whimsical experiment in Utah, where Brent Christensen, seeking to entertain his children, constructed an ice cave in his yard. What started as a set of walls and tunnels and sculptures that make up the castle. Around 12,000 new icicles are added each day, and they're meticulously shaped and positioned by hand, resulting in a structure that can weigh over 20 million pounds by the time it's complete. This ice forms intricate patterns on the walls, and every surface seems to shimmer with a crystalline beauty. Visitors can wander through these ice-carved tunnels, slide down frozen chutes, and marvel at the fountains that send streams of water arcing into the cold air, only to freeze again mid-flight. As night falls, the castle takes on a magical quality, illuminated from within by LED lights that bathe the ice in a soft, otherworldly glow of pastel hues, turning this entire structure into a work of art. Number 13, Vatnajökull Glacier. Vatnajökull, the largest glacier in Iceland and one of the most expansive ice caps in Europe, is a frozen giant that conceals a world of fiery secrets beneath the surface. Glacial volcanoes. The interaction between the ice and these volcanic forces have given rise to one of the most unique geological phenomena on the planet, subglacial eruptions. The intense heat from the magma melts the overlaying ice, creating large pockets of water trapped beneath the glacier. This meltwater can accumulate until the pressure becomes too great, eventually causing the ice to burst open in a catastrophic event known as a Jökulhlaup, or glacial lake outburst flood. These floods can unleash billions of gallons of water in a matter of hours, sweeping across the landscape with devastating force. One of the most significant ones happened in 1934 when 15 cubic kilometers of water were released in just a few days, dramatically reshaping the landscape. In 1996, an eruption beneath Grímsvötn caused a massive flood that swept away roads and bridges, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. And more recently, in May of 2011, another eruption sent a plume of ash 17 kilometers into the sky, disrupting its balance of forces. They're found primarily in regions of northern Europe and North America, particularly in states like Illinois and Ohio. These snow rollers are both a visual marvel and an example of the complexity of winter weather. First and foremost, there's got to be a layer of snow on the ground, but not just any snow will do. The top layer needs to be wet and sticky, just at the edge of melting, while beneath it lies a layer of powdery, less cohesive snow. This combination is essential because the sticky top layer provides the substance needed to form the roll, while the powdery layer underneath allows the snow to move freely without sticking to the ground. Wind plays a critical role in the formation of snow rollers. It's got to be strong enough to initiate the rolling process, but gentle enough not to destroy the delicate structure as it forms. As the wind blows across the snow, it begins to push the top layer into a roll, much like how one might roll a carpet. As the roll gains momentum, it picks up more snow, growing in size with each rotation. The end result is a hollow cylinder, sometimes large enough to be mistaken for Lake Michigan, defy the typical associations one might have with the term volcano. Unlike their fiery counterparts, which spew molten rock and ash from deep within the earth, these ice formations are born from the freezing waters of the lake and the relentless battering of winter waves. They're found along the coastline, particularly at places like Oval Beach. These towering mounds of ice emerge each year. First and foremost, temperatures must plummet well below freezing, often dipping to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. At the same time, the lake must be subjected to significant wave action, which is the crucial component of the formation process. As the waves crash against the shore, they splash cold water onto sandbars or other shoreline features, where it begins to freeze almost immediately. This creates the foundation of what will eventually become an ice volcano. Over time, as more and more ice accumulates, these mounds grow taller and broader, sometimes reaching heights of up to 10 to 15 feet. The continual splashing of waves adds another layer of ice to the mounds, gradually shaping them into these ice circles, also known as ice discs, ice pans, ice pancakes, or ice crepes, are among nature's most mysterious and rare phenomena. These thin, circular slabs of ice, often rotating gently on the surface of a body of water, are a captivating sight that evokes some wonder. Occurring primarily in cold climates with slow-moving water, ice circles are a fleeting spectacle. The formation of these ice circles is a delicate interplay of physics and environmental conditions. Typically, these disks form on the outer bends of rivers, where the water's acceleration creates a force known as rotational shear. This force then causes a chunk of ice to break off and begin to spin slowly. As the disk rotates, it grinds against the surrounding ice, smoothing itself into a near-perfect circle. Although uncommon, the phenomenon has been recorded as far back as 1895, with one of the earliest known sightings documented on the Mianus River in a Scientific American report. There are several types of these formations related to ice circles, and this rotation is driven by the interaction between the ice and the surrounding water. The disk cools the water beneath it, causing that water to become denser and sink, creating a circular current that maintains the disk's rotation. This subtle, yet powerful natural mechanism underscores the delicate balance of forces at play in the formation of these icy wonders. Number 9. Lake Erie Storm. During a recent severe winter storm, lakefront homes in Crystal Beach, Ontario found themselves engulfed in an extraordinary layer of ice. This event, a result of a particularly intense blizzard, transformed the homes along Lake Erie into frozen monuments encased in a thick, spiky coat of ice that stretched from their rooftops down to the ground. The formation of this ice encasement began with a combination of extreme weather conditions. As the blizzard battled the region, winds whipped across Lake Erie at speeds of up to 60 miles an hour, creating towering waves that reached heights of over 25 feet. The process of this ice accumulation was so swift and extensive that the homes became encased in a frozen shell, creating a dramatic visual reminiscent of a scene from a winter-themed fantasy film. The weight of the ice put a substantial stress on the buildings, raising concerns among residents about potential structural damage. In addition to the physical impact, the encasement also led to potential flooding risks. As the temps began to rise and the ice started to thaw, the melting snow and ice could result in significant water pooling, potentially leading to further damage and flooding. Number 8. Grasshopper Glacier. Grasshopper Glacier, located about 70 miles southwest of Billings, Montana, in the Beartooth Mountains of Custer National Forest, stands out as a unique and enigmatic natural formation. It's situated at an elevation of 11,000 feet above sea level. This glacier is distinguished by its unusual appearance and fascinating history. It's renowned for its distinctive dark coloration, which contrasts sharply with the pristine white over a century ago. This Grasshopper Glacier once extended over 5 miles in length, but it has significantly receded due to some climate change. Today, though, it measures less than a quarter mile long and a quarter mile wide. The glacier now comprises several smaller ones, each occupying different north-facing areas. The ongoing impact of global warming has accelerated the melting here, reducing its size and leading to the decomposition of many grasshopper specimens before they can be studied. The surface here reveals a fascinating array of these preserved locusts, offering some insights into the past ecological conditions and behavior of these long-extinct species. However, access to the glacier is pretty challenging due to the remote location and harsh weather conditions here. Travelers have to navigate off-road paths and undertake a strenuous hike to even reach the glacier, with the access road often impassable for up to 10 months each year. Moving on to number 7, Narusawa Hyoketsu. Narasawa Hyoketsu, located on the island of Honshu in Japan, is a remarkable natural wonder. These formations. The cave measures approximately 512 feet in length and descends to a depth of 70 feet. It was created when lava flowed through an underground channel, leaving behind a hollow tunnel after the lava solidified and the surrounding rock cooled. The average temperature inside here hovers around 32 degrees Fahrenheit, which is crucial for the formation and preservation of the ice formations. The conditions within the cave allow the water to drip through the rock, freezing into long, spindly icicles and large ice pillars. Some of these ice formations can reach up to 100 feet in height, and during the winter, these formations become even more pronounced, with icicles extending up to 3 feet long. The interplay of light on the crystal clear ice creates a kaleidoscope of colors, enhancing the cave's otherworldly beauty. The cave's entrance is equipped with stairs that descend into the cavern, with some areas requiring visitors to crouch to navigate through the narrower passages. The cave remains a popular destination for those interested in exploring Japan's unique volcanic landscapes with the dense ice. When snow accumulates over centuries, it eventually compacts into glacial ice. This process, which can take thousands of years, forces out the air trapped within the snowflakes, resulting in a much denser and purer form of ice. Longer wavelengths of light, such as red and orange, are absorbed by the ice, while the shorter wavelengths, particularly blue, are scattered and transmitted back to the observer's eye. The scattering of this blue light is what gives the glaciers their distinctive color. Now, the age and density of the ice play a critical role in the intensity of the blue. Older glaciers, having undergone extensive compression over millennia, contain less air, and thus more capable of refracting blue light. These ancient ice formations, often found in the polar regions of Greenland, Antarctica, and Alaska, exhibit a deep, vivid blue that can appear almost electric in intensity. Now, in terms of color and hue, these glaciers can range from a pale, almost turquoise blue to a rich sapphire-like shade, depending on the thickness of the ice and the angle of the sunlight. In some regions, such as serene beauty meets an underlying danger. Located in Alberta, Canada, this man-made lake was created in 1972 with the construction of the Bighorn Dam on the North Saskatchewan River. While the lake boasts the stunning blue waters typical of glacial-fed lakes in the Rocky Mountains, it's what lies beneath the icy surface that has captivated outdoor enthusiasts and photographers from around the world: the surreal frozen methane bubbles. Methane bubbles formed from the decay of organic matter at the lake's bottom rise up through the water. As these bubbles ascend, they become trapped in the layers of ice, freezing in place and creating stacks of milky white orbs that seem to float in suspended animation. The formation of these frozen methane bubbles is a product of both natural processes and the lake's artificial origins. When the lake was flooded to create the reservoir, the existing vegetation and organic material at the bottom began to decay. Bacteria in the lake bed fed on this organic matter, releasing methane gas as a byproduct. Methane is a potent greenhouse gas with a warming potential significantly greater than that of carbon dioxide. The release of methane from lakes like Abraham contribute to the overall increase in atmospheric greenhouse gases, which is a growing concern for climate scientists. As permafrost around the world continues to thaw, more methane is being released into the atmosphere, accelerating the effects of global warming. Number 4. Tule Lake Crystal Ice Cave. Deep under California's Lava Beds National Monument is an example of volcanic forces that have shaped the region for millions of years. The monument, located near the Medicine Lake Shield volcano, is a labyrinth of over 800 caves. Among these caves, one stands out for its beauty and the rare natural phenomenon it harbors, the Crystal Ice Cave. It is a marvel of nature, a subterranean wonder that shows some of the most spectacular ice formations found in any cave system in the world. The cave extends nearly 960 feet in length and plunges danger posed by the cave's environment. Tours are typically offered only during the winter months, from January through March, and they're limited to small groups to minimize the impact on the cave's microclimate. In recent years, however, the future of the Crystal Ice Cave has become uncertain. Warmer winters and fluctuating temperatures have led to a decline in the size and stability of the ice formations. In 2020, the National Park Service was forced to cancel tours due to the unusually high temperatures that prevented the ice from forming properly, leaving parts of the cave wet and too dangerous to explore. This has raised concerns about the long-term preservation of the cave's unique ice formations. Number 3. Fox and Franz Josef Glaciers. Over on New Zealand's South Island, Fox Glacier and Franz Josef Glacier stand as two of the most extraordinary ice formations in the world. Fox Glacier, known in Maori as Te Maweka o Tuawe, and Franz Josef Glacier, known as Karoimata or Hine Hokatere, are temperate maritime glaciers. Glaciers have carved deep valleys through the mountains, leaving behind a series of moraines, piles of rocks and debris deposited by the retreating ice. These moraines have shaped the local topography, creating hills, lakes, and other features. For example, Lake Matheson near Fox Glacier and Lake Wombat near Franz Josef Glacier were both formed as kettle lakes created by the chunks of ice left behind in the moraines. The glaciers have also played a vital role in reshaping the region's ecosystems. The sequence of vegetation ranges from bare rock, exposed only a decade ago, to fully established forest on rock exposed centuries ago. The glacier's movement also poses certain risks to the area. Both Fox and Franz Josef glaciers have experienced glacial outburst floods when water trapped in the tunnels beneath the glaciers suddenly bursts out. Such an event can carry large chunks of ice and debris, wreaking havoc on infrastructure. For example, the Waiho River, which flows from the Franz Josef Glacier, has seen several destructive floods over the years, including one in March of 2019 Asselvatna-Jokul ice cap. This glacier-fed lagoon was formed as meltwater from the glacier pooled into a basin, a process that is both ancient and still ongoing. At Heinebergslån, however, the lagoon's depth of over 330 feet allows sediment to settle at the bottom, leaving the surface water pristine and transparent. Now, what makes it particularly unusual is the contrast in its iceberg dynamics compared to the more famous glacial lagoons at Jökulsárlón. While Jökulsárlón's icebergs often tip over dangerously due to warmer ocean-fed waters melting them from below, Heinebergslån's icebergs melt at the top down. This difference in melting behavior is critical as it reduces the likelihood of sudden iceberg tipping. This is more than just a picturesque location. It plays an essential role in the local ecosystem. The cold, clear waters here support a unique array of aquatic life, while the surrounding area provides habitat for reindeer and seals. However, like many of Iceland's natural wonders, Heinebergslón's not immune to the impacts of some climate change. Rising water icicles of death, that's an awesome name, are one of the most bizarre and eerie ice formations known to science. They're found in the polar oceans of the Arctic and Antarctic. These ghostly, descending tubes of ice project downward from the sea ice above, creating an otherworldly sight in the frigid depths. But what exactly are these things, and how do they form? Well, a brinacle begins to form when the sea ice starts to freeze at the surface of the ocean. As this happens, the salt in the water is excluded from the forming ice crystals, creating pockets of extremely salty and cold water known as brine within the sea ice. Over time, this brine accumulates in fractures and crevices within the ice. Eventually, the sea ice cracks, allowing the brine to leak out and descend into the ocean. Because the brine is denser and colder than the surrounding seawater, it sinks rapidly towards the seafloor, and as it does so, the super cold brine freezes any water it comes into contact with, forming a sheath of ice around itself, a brinacle. Imagine an icicle hanging down from the roof of a house. They also have a darker side. The nickname underwater icicle of death isn't just for show. These formations can be lethal to small marine creatures that get too close. When a brinacle reaches the seafloor, it forms a pool of concentrated, freezing brine that spreads out, encasing everything in its path in ice. Now, while the sight of small creatures succumbing to the icy grip of a brinacle might sound like something out of a horror movie, the reality is that brinicles are a very localized phenomenon. They're only dangerous to the small animals that happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they're not a significant threat to any larger marine life, such as seals or whales. Even divers exploring the polar waters are safe from these icy tendrils, as brinicles form in shallow waters and can easily be avoided. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time.